It has been too long, and now there are too many things that I want to share, and I don't know where to start. So I will just start with saying, hi, I'm back. Welcome to Invitational Insight. We'll get into where I've been and some lessons I've learned so far for disappearing. Welcome back to you, to me. If you are a new visitor, welcome for the first time. If you are a follower from a long time ago, I'm sorry I neglected you. And I know that I've heard a lot about not justifying your absence or not offering an explanation as to like why you've been absent on social media, but I feel like it's been an absence for me, a negligence of me and my outlets. So the apology is for both of us, right? It's for you for not having content provided, and for me for not feeding this outlet of oversharing that I started to cultivate and walked away from. So, all that being said, I actually wanted to come on 2 weeks ago to talk about the importance of stopping. Just stop. And I'll give you context for that, which will also, I think, explain where I've been. The reason that just stop came to my mind and kind of has been a conversation I've just been having with myself in the background is in terms of not doing all the things and knowing when to stop, to take a break, to take a pause, to call time out. I feel that my upbringing, at least, and other people who may be considered high achieving or OCD, quite frankly, nonstop, go, hustle, grind, die. It's not welcomed for us to take a break or to rest or to stop, right? And I was very careful with the descriptors of who can be seen in that, because there is a change in how we function as a society, and that's no longer the prevalent norm. I'm seeing a lot more people discussing breaks and intentional time to themselves, and we're stepping away from that nonstop, all the time, constant for everyone and all the time. So the reason that I wanted to bring this up is because I was not the type of person to, I think, take breaks. I would end things so that I won't have to go back to them, or because they have just been concretely finished. But if I am currently engaging in something, in this aspect it's school, I wouldn't stop at all. I remember when I was in college, I sometimes worked 2 jobs and school, never stopped. Taking a break was not an option. You just never did it. I went straight to college after high school. All my schooling was done consecutively. There was no breaks. That was a novel idea. If it ever occurred to anybody to utter, like, take a term off, I'd be like, who are you talking to with 15 heads? Fast forward to August of this past year, where I gave myself permission to stop. Just to stop, right? Just stop. I think that was like the conversation. Just stop, right? Stop making excuses. Stop justifying the stress. Stop making it okay to overburden yourself. It's okay to not have to do all the things all the time. I think a phrase that I kept uttering to myself is, just because you can doesn't mean you should. And with that in mind, I took a break from a lot of things, but the most drastic one for me was deciding to take a break from school. And by take a break from school, a term, I'm taking 3 months off. All right, so it pushes my graduation a little bit, no big deal. But me delivering this news to you as like, yeah, it was a decision I made, no big deal, is a stark contrast, I think, to where I would have been a year ago if I had had the same situation happening to me, where for my mental well-being, I advocated that something needed to change. I now advocate a lot more. I think I would say probably in the past 3 years, I've become more intentional about advocating for my mental health and for sanity checks and for different things that ground me into a more holistic presence in my life. And that, I think, opened the door to, okay, do you want to take a break? And I didn't just want to, I think I needed it for my sake. This past summer has been one of the most 180-degree turning chapters of my life. And I think everything came to a head for me, like I said, in August, because there were so many things that happened all at the same time that the very first week I was just ready to wave the white flag. It was planning a birthday party. It was hosting my first training session with my new position, which I don't even think I shared with you guys. I've got a new job. It was hosting people at home. It was finalizing work for school that all had to be due miraculously August 4th, which is where everything that needed to occur in my life all culminated in that one day. And I just remember thinking, like, I don't know how I'm going to make it through it. I don't know how I'm going to, one, get to the first week of August, two, survive afterwards to try to, collect the pieces that remain and see what collateral damage it did. And I didn't want to get to that point where I became irritable or frustrated or just so fiercely attached to having to do because I just have to, right? I can't even give you a reason right now as to why I just wanted to keep doing other than, well, that's what I have to do. Like, why? What does that even mean? And I feel that in a way this is almost redundant to the goal conversation that I had this year, maybe last year, February was, where when you have a goal or something that becomes toxic, in the sense that just drives the most unhealthy and unsustainable behavior out of you just for the purpose of achieving that goal. And in light of that conversation, fast forwarding to now, and really thinking of the impact that my being tightly wound and pressurized and overwhelmed and numbed and muted, because I just wanted to bear down and get through the things. Who was I really in service of at that time? I knew I wasn't going to be my best self for my family. I knew that I wasn't going to be present in the way that I wanted to be present. And so school took a break. Inadvertently, with all the other things that have changed in my life since July, everything kind of took a break. It wasn't just school. But I think school is more pressing for me because it goes back to that, somebody's holding me accountable. I have a grade, I have a deliverable that I have to give in order to redeem some credit for. So for me, that's a strong attachment. Real estate came to an end, a stop. My social media presence came to an end, to a stop. My working from home came to an end, to a stop. It was just such a I think I'm even still like reeling from the effects of it, because even though this just happened in July, like I still have to almost stop and count how many weeks it's been since I was that person in June, let's say, right? And I had the conversation with a friend of mine of like, what is my recognizable life right now? Is this recognizable to me from where I was before? And it's not. But I feel that I'm much better equipped to deal with the changes now because I'm giving myself grace and permission to stop when I need to stop. And that's the message I'm sharing with you guys. That was honestly the reason that I wanted to come online 2 weeks ago, and just perfectioned and justified and excused my way out of having it, aside from, just being tired. And not in a way of like, oh my God, but like just physically, like, I just want to sleep. Like, in as much as I can get 8 hours of sleep, I will try to do. And if I can't do it, then, it is what it is. We deal. But all the things that are going on right now have been a culmination of saying what I want, using my voice more, and putting myself out there in a more visible way, in a more vulnerable way to a certain extent, because it's an uncomfortable, brand new, unfamiliar environment that I'm in now. Not just professionally, not just personally, not just academically, but in an identity shifting kind of way, where things of me that I thought to know to be certain and true and 100% have now shifted, to make way to new aspects, to make way to new growths, to make way for new opportunities, right? So all this to say, in a very roundabout way, because I knew that this was going to happen, it is late in my world. You are allowed to stop. You do not have to do it all. You do not have to carry that burden. You do not need to pressurize yourself. Working and doing meaningful and productive things doesn't mean it has to be constant, nonstop, and at the expense of the human that's inside of you doing all the things that you want to do. And I say this to you as much as I say it to myself, as much as I said it to myself when I made the decision to stop. So stop when you need to stop. There's nothing wrong with that. And I will probably have to, I would want to, I get to use this platform to make those conversations audible, make those issues and concerns visible. And I owe it, I think, to myself to participate with what I want to do and show up in the way that I want to show up. And this podcast was a big outlet for me. And in allowing other things to shift and kind of recalibrate in my life, I feel that sometimes the things that we hold closest to us are the ones that we let go the quickest, because there is a sense of vulnerability in doing something that fully expresses you, and because it's easier for you to justify to yourself why you're not going to do something that you want to do, or sometimes we feel it's harder to justify when we're accountable to somebody else why we can't do the thing that we're accountable for. And that's something else that I want to say work on, but I want to acknowledge and take intentional steps towards making it harder to justify my own excuses to myself, as opposed to justifying something for somebody outside, external, another person that doesn't see or know what sorts of things I want to do that make me feel great and light me up. So yeah, and that was a live, just in the moment right now, random thought that I'm like, damn, that's really good. That's exactly what we do. We talk ourselves out of our own things because it's easier to let ourselves down than it is to let other people down. When really, you live with yourself your whole life. So do you want to be somebody who lets themselves down? Do you want to be somebody who is constantly let down? Damn. Woo, I'm going to sit with that one for a little bit. Okay. So that wraps up this episode. In terms of where other things lie, I am not making any promises about this being weekly, about this being monthly, about this being semi-annually, about this being every year. Although if I want to create that commitment to myself, that I'm talking myself less out of disappointing myself, then I'll revisit this conversation and let you know what the verdict is. But ultimately, if you are still here, thank you. I don't want to compare you to a Tamagotchi, but Tamagotchis also needed quality time. And I wanted to be here to give you quality time, to give myself quality time with the things that I love to do. So thank you for hanging in there, for, waiting for the notification to pop up, for not bombarding me or messaging me as I've resurfaced now from change cyclones, I guess we can call it. Change is good. I know many people don't like change, and I love change, and I think I've called it way into my life, so it's here, and that's great. You guys get to witness all the things that happen when it comes to my door. So thanks for that. Thanks for the support. And yeah, if there is any sort of question, I think, coming out of this, or if there's, an epiphany that you have of yourself through watching this, I'd love to know. I think it's wonderful to get the feedback that I've gotten, because sometimes it's been in person and sometimes it's been from people that I don't expect to get it from. And sometimes it is the least expected type of feedback that I'll receive. But it is always so well received and always so welcome. So thank you. And until next time.